Welcome to Muddy River News this week, furnished by Harvey's. I'm Bob Goff. Angela Caldwell is the Director of Workforce Development for the Great River Economic Development Foundation. That means she works with local companies to help them find people for their jobs. And we've got quite a few job openings in our area as we speak. So we're really happy to have Angela here today. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So you've got a really busy job these days, it looks like.
Yes, I do.
So talk about how, GREDF and in your position you've worked to try to really help what every employer sees as their biggest problem right now, and that's finding people.
Biggest problem finding people, and second biggest problem keeping people, not because of different people having moving to different out-of-state places, but losing people because of cell phone usage, because of communication issues, because of those soft skills that people are not bringing to the workplace nowadays. I don't understand, but it is what it is.
Basic 1, 2, 3. Show up, be on time. I've talked to many of my friends who are involved in HR or involved in owning or running companies. It's like, can we just get people in the door? We can get them in the door, but can we get them to come back the next day?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So what do you suggest how are we going to make that better?
Well, in my position, there are a few programs that we have going right now. One is the Puerto Rican initiative, where we're bringing people in from Puerto Rico. The folks in Puerto Rico are U.S. citizens, so we don't have to deal with any green card or work visa issues. We've placed people at NAPIDE, at Fibro, and a few other places. There have been, I believe, 14 employees that have come in, so that's good. It doesn't really touch the 700 plus that we need, but it's a start. The other thing is we started the Adams County Empowered program, which is for individuals who are on probation. They are recommended by their probation officer, and once they're recommended, they go through a 4-step process with the organization called Bella Ease. And then once they go through that 4-step process, they tell the person from Bella Ease which companies they want to put in an application for. And then if they get called for the interview, they go for the interview. If they get offered the job, they get offered the job. We've had 33 individuals who've been recommended for that.
Now that's being funded through Adams County, correct?
That is correct.
I think I was at the county board meeting where they approved the funding for that.
That is correct. And that program actually is really working rather well. We've already exceeded the number of recommendations. 33 recommendations. I believe it's 12 individuals who are working full-time now for one of the manufacturing companies. So it's really good. The thing that I really like about that program, though, is the fact that individuals are matched up with, or they have a mentor who is outside of the company, so that that individual, if they have questions, if there's something they don't understand about, why did I get wrote up for having a cell phone? Well, you should know that you can't have your cell phone on the shop floor, but just in case, there are individuals who really don't. Yeah. So just in case you don't know that, here's this mentor that can explain to you more of the rules and regulations in case you didn't pay attention during your orientation.
And again, those you talk about that, the soft skills, the things that you would hope people would just learn by following examples. But in a lot of situations, if maybe it's a situation where the parents are divorced or just some other home life that's less than ideal, sometimes those kids, as they go through school, they just want to get out of high school. They don't know what they're going to do. They know they need a job, but even though they've gone through high school, maybe should have gotten a pretty good education through one of our local high schools, sometimes they just don't learn the basics.
That's very true. That's very true. And sometimes we're dealing with a generational thing. Sure. Where individuals, they don't know because their parents didn't know, and they don't know because their parents didn't know. So we have to fill in the gap wherever it is. Now, some people might say, well, they should learn that at home. Well, they should, but there is that but there, because there are individuals who just don't know.
And even if you come from a, you know, a family that seems to be, you know, have everything together, parents been together for 30 some years, you know, everything's fine, still families get so busy. I mean, I know with my wife and I, every once in a while, our kids, when they were like late teenagers, like, how do you not to know that? And like, well, you never told me. It's like, well, geez, I guess you're right. Maybe that's something I should have told them how to do. So you look back and you want to think, even parents who are there and present and supportive and do the right thing, we're not perfect. So there's always going to be those skills. And I think it's a bad rap when people say they should learn certain things in school, because I always think, well, parents have a major responsibility.
That's right.
You know, and of course, I also, having a wife who's a teacher, I'm also very sympathetic to that. And whenever I've had meetings with teachers about my kids, I always take the teacher's side, which my kids never liked. But there's that relationship at school and home to where, okay, the two of us together should be able to get this kid in a position where they can fly. You know,
right.
You just, like the bird, you just put them in your hand, they fly. We should be able to do that. But sometimes, again, we're not perfect. The schools aren't perfect, parents aren't perfect, and it's great to have these other programs available to, like, hey, go see Angela, or go see the program over at GREDF, and they're going to help answer any of the questions you might have. I think that's a very great, and it seems to be a great need these days.
That is very true. It is a great need. That's one of the things that I can really say about the mentors that are coming through Bella Eves, because they are really able to provide the answers that the individuals are asking, and provide the answer without making the individual feel less than,
right?
Or, you know, exactly. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
What's dumb is not to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's all those kinds of skills that, you know, a father would teach a son, or a mother would teach a son, or a daughter, or what have you. It's all those skills that, again, sometimes the connection just isn't made. So, but looking at the overall plan here, when you say there are 700 plus jobs to fill, you know, and it sounds like, in listening to the mayor lately, we may have some more jobs to fill, because we may have a couple pretty good sized retailers coming in, and you never know when, you know, one of our great local companies is going to want to do an expansion. How do we continue this momentum? And again, how do we just get the regular, you know, again, bringing in the Puerto Rican people is great to fill that need, because that need is there, and also with this other program with the people on probation. But what are we going to do with the kids who are just now coming out of high school and then don't go to the 4-year school and then go to John Wood? What are we doing to make that connection so we get them acclimated quickly?
One of the things that we're doing is we have the Adams County Career Guidance Team, and that team was established back in, I believe it was 2016. With that particular team, they look at creating a talent pipeline that eventually will reach all the way back to kindergarten, and introduce those students to different career paths that are available right here in Quincy. We're not preparing them to move out to Chicago or down to St. Louis or New York or whatever. We want them to be prepared to fill these positions here in Quincy. As far as high school students are concerned, we have the Quincy Area Vocational and Technical Center, QAVTC, which is, they are producing students left and right. They're becoming more known within Adams County, and that's good, because I say that because a number of the positions are within the manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, those types of career paths. So we want our students to know that those positions exist, and to know, you can actually make $45,000 or $50,000 coming out of high school. Yeah. But they're not going to know unless we tell them.
Right.
And then another thing that we're doing is I'm in the process of creating another program for career and technical education graduates, not just in Quincy, but I'm targeting the Chicagoland area. I'm also targeting the St. Louis area for those students who are graduating from high school or graduating from community colleges, and letting them know you can come to Quincy, you can live a safe, happy lifestyle. You can be close to mom and dad. They can still jump on the train, come down from Chicago, jump in the car, come up from St. Louis, spend the day, and even go home the same day if they need to. But you can have this nice apartment, you can have this nice vehicle, you can do these great activities because you're making $45,000, $50,000 a year, and the fact that your cost of living is so much less than it would be living in a large city.
And it's also, and that's another thing that the Mayor's Trope has talked about, is the housing issue and making sure that we have good, safe, reliable housing. If we're trying to fill 700 jobs, we have to have a place to put them.
Exactly.
So that's all going hand in hand, and that's why all of our local organizations have these kind of conversations and collaborations, meetings pretty frequently. Say, okay, hey, we're bringing in 700 people. You got beds for them, and you got a place for them, and that's needed as well. And you mentioned community college, John Wood, its Workforce Development Center. Again, that's another place where when kids don't know exactly what they want out of high school, they can go to John Wood for those kinds of programs too. And the Workforce Development Center is something that hasn't been around that long, but it seems to have had a really good impact as well.
Right, and to my knowledge, I believe they are expanding.
Yes,
so that'll be a very good thing.
That. So again, when I think when you've been doing your job here at GREDF for 9 years, how has the local, again, let's leave COVID out of the equation because that's messed everything up for a couple years. But aside from that, how has your position evolved to what employers wanted and needed at first to what they want and need now?
In the very beginning, it was all about those essential workplace skills, those soft skills. And at that time, one of the teams was the Adams County Work Readiness team. And that team really focused on those soft skills for individuals who were or underemployed. So we created the Work Ready certification process. But the thing that we noticed is when people would get enough information to do the application and do the interview and they get the job and they don't finish the certification. So, but that's good and bad. It's good because that means that what they learned was enough for them to be able to land that good job, but then bad because they didn't get all of the information.
Right.
So in the beginning, it was all about soft skills. Come to work, stay at work, no cell phone usage.
It's gonna stay that way. Just don't. Yeah, it seems
exactly.
Again, it seems so simple, but
exactly. But now it's more about we need people. Now it's more about retention of people. And some of those things, I have to admit, some of those things we can help with as far as the needing of people, and that's why the different programs that we've created. No, it's not creating producing 700 people in a 6-month period, but it's a help. And the other thing is, let's work on our onboarding process to make sure that people get accustomed to the company culture. Let's make sure that they feel welcome within the organization. Because if I go somewhere and I begin to work and I'm not feeling like, all warm and fuzzy or at least feeling welcomed.
Valued.
Exactly. Then I'm liable to look for another place to work.
It seems to me like right now, especially a lot of our kids who are like in their mid to upper 20s, and once we had the pandemic that allowed people to work remotely, a lot of employees liked that. And that seems to be something that if an employer is willing to pay the good salary, the competitive wage, but also offer that flexibility, hey, I only need to see you in the office 15 hours a week, as long as you show me what you're doing to make progress. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing more companies being open to that?
A lot of companies are open to that. The issue is a lot of the positions that are open, as far as those 700
Oh no,
positions. Those are we need you
we
in
need
the
you
building.
here to do the widgets and all that stuff.
Exactly.
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 Yeah.
So we do have individuals though that have moved here, just for the lifestyle of Quincy and being able to work remotely from Quincy. So individuals through our QRAP program.
Right.
Have come in and they're able to do that. The greatest thing right now, though, is the fact that we need these employees. We need the employers to recognize that they're dealing with a different generation of people. I look at what do they call them? Generation Zs, those 18 to 25. They don't think like
no, like us, Gen Xers or Boomers or whatever you are now, whatever your age grouping is when you're, over 45 or whatever. So yeah.
But I do see a circle happening because the Boomers wanted to make things as great as they could for their children, and they worked hard and they worked long hours, and then the next generation picked up from there and started making more money and creating more wealth and everything for the generation to come. But then when you get down to Generation Z, all of a sudden, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, all of a sudden, I want to experience life.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah. I don't want to own a house.
Exactly.
I don't know if I want kids.
Exactly.
It's all that stuff. Yeah.
So we as much as I hate to admit it, we have to meet them where they are, or they will not come and work.
Yeah, no, it is. The Ward and June, leave it to Beaver, picket fence, and all that stuff. It's not that world anymore, and employers have to realize that. But those kids also have to realize, look, you've got to give a little bit too. If you have a company you really like and you want to go to, you gotta meet them halfway. You gotta say, okay, I can do this. I can live with that. There is no perfect job out there.
Right.
And I think and there's no perfect employee. So both sides have to give a little if they're going to solve this problem that we have currently of the help wanted signs being in every other window in town. So I agree. Anything else you'd like to bring up before we wrap this up?
No, I'm just excited about the opportunity to be here and have this conversation with you today. I'd like to encourage people to, take advantage of the different programs that we have available out there, whether it be local people, if you have family members that want to move back to town. There's plenty of programs we have that will assist at some point for them to do that. So let's just work hard at bringing the people in, at creating that talent pipeline, and just growing Quincy.
Well, one other thing I'd be remiss to bring up, you also got a new boss over the last year too.
Yes.
Marcel's out, Kyle's in. Anything you want to say bad about Kyle, you can say right here now. Nobody's going to watch. So no, I'm just kidding. How has the transition been under Kyle now? Actually,
I have to admit this has been probably the smoothest transition I've ever experienced, and I've experienced a few.
Sure.
So it was the communication was there, everything. It was just very smooth, a very smooth transition. So, and right now I can report that it's very good working with him, and he's very supportive of his employees. So it's a good thing.
Well, good. And it sounds like a thing, again, with all the programs and the people coming into town, sounds like 2022 is off to a great start.
Yes, it is.
All right, Angela, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That was Angela Caldwell with GREDF. I'm Bob Goff. Have a great week.